new chapters.
I said fuck all these weapons, and fuck my depression, fuck these recessions, and fuck the election. Learning my lessons and counting my blessings. Vibe dropping straight out of heaven. Top drop oceans.
What's up, guys? Super excited to be back. Even though it's only been a week, for some reason I just feel rusty in front of the camera doing it only one time a week. So I'm gonna be trying to do more videos. And then also there's gonna be a period where I'm gonna be away for a couple weeks. So I'm going to try to make more videos to archive for when I'm away so that we don't have any lapse. What I want to do today, part of what I make these videos, or one function of these videos, is not only to talk to you guys and get ideas, also get my snakes and what I'm doing here out there. I also use it as a way of documenting. So I may look up, oh, when did that breeding happen? When were those eggs laid? So part of it is I want to tell you guys what I want to get done as far as projects for next year. Some animals that I want to acquire and some things that some projects I want to get into for next year. So I'm going to use this to tell you guys to hold myself accountable to getting these animals and getting these projects moved forward. A main focus is obviously going to be working on that project that I've been talking about, making products, but honestly just the financial aspect, I just got to get that going in order to get that rolling. But I'm still very excited about that, still very excited. The palmetto female is eating and she's looking really good, so I'm really hoping that happens next season. So I'm just gonna go over some animals. I always look on the classified stuff like that, things catch your eye and you tend to stray away from what you initially planned to get. So I mean, that's how I've ended up with females forever, meaning like adult females with no males to breed them. So I need to stop doing that. So there's a few animals that I definitely need to pick up first. So what I have here is my Mexican black king snake. This one's a female, and all I have is one lone female. So it's kind of silly for me to just have one female and not, get any clutches out of her. And plus, I really love these king snakes. They're so easy to take care of, just like all the colubrids and all the king snakes. Very docile. And just, I would really like to make more of them. Also, there's, such a market for them. They tend to be really popular in the hobby because people love how nice and black they are, and also the nice blue ventral scales on them, pretty iridescent. Most you can find, she has a little bit of white on the sides, but I need a male that's dark black, as completely black as possible. So definitely on the list. So what I have to think about sometimes is the price of the animal. So I believe I can find a male somewhere between $100 and $150. I'm hoping that after breeding season happens, someone will be looking to get rid of a breeder male, so I can just bring in a breeder size male right off the bat. And I believe that would be a sound investment just to make for next year. And then I also need to think about money as far as, are people willing to buy? So it's silly, I do have some snakes that no one else is really interested in, and I don't really plan to produce things like that. I want to produce animals that have a good healthy market, and I don't have to worry about selling, or I don't want to get to a point where I have too many animals and have to like get rid of stuff per se. I want things that have a good market behind them, things that are very, that are great animals to have in captivity and that people in the hobby are interested in. So I definitely always at shows, I try to keep an eye on what animals are going off the tables at shows, what animals people are looking at, especially as far as colubrids go. There are a lot of animals that I really want to get into, but it just seems like every time I go on the classifieds, every time I go to a show, those animals are always left on the table. So I would probably rather keep those as pets. I just want to make sure that I'm able to sell whatever I produce. That's kind of a problem I've seen with, I've been really into looking at the Brooks king snakes and the Florida king snakes, and I just think they're so amazing. But I mean, you have to have a little bit larger enclosures for them. They do get about 6 feet. They are a little bit bigger as far as, for a king snake, this is an adult female Mexican black. So you can see, corn snake size, regular king snake, like a cow king size. Pretty easily handleable, easily kept in CB70 or even in a 32 quart. But between the Brooks having to be kept in a larger tub, and then also not having as much of a market for them, and I always see people just kind of trying to get rid of, especially normal Brooks, for maybe $35, and that just doesn't seem feasible. They don't lay too many eggs, so it doesn't seem feasible for me to go out of my way to breed them. I think they're amazing. I might pick one up, but if I do, it's gonna have some powerful genetics behind it and something that is viable in today's market. So I think that's an important distinction to have. And you know, I can't just have exactly what I want. If I want to make a feasible business, you know, I can't just keep whatever I want. I mean, to an extent, obviously I can, but I mean, at the same time, I need to be responsible in producing things that people are going to be interested in. So I do have quite a few first-time projects that I have to look forward to this year. You know, species that I haven't ever bred before. First one being jungle carpet pythons.
Right in the kitchen.
Right now, this is the female that I have that is breeding size. She probably could have bred this year, but I wanted to wait. I just don't think there was no rush. I wasn't set up properly for python eggs. And then also she would have been borderline, you know. She's 3 years old. I'd like to get another year to get her ready to go. And they're just such curious animals and so awesome. But I've never bred jungle carpet pythons before. My only experience with pythons has been ball pythons, which are super easy to breed. Jungle carpets are going to be a little bit harder. Also a little bit different of a mentality going into it. So I'm pretty excited about that, and having python eggs again, and getting them eating should be fun, and having a bunch of little babies. And this animal, as you can see, they like to climb all over you. So another species that I have that I haven't bred before that's coming up to size is going to be Hognose. Right here I have a female albino, and then I also have a pair of het snows. So hopefully I can get that male to go to both this albino, and then also that het snow produce some albinos and some snows and some aneries. So that should be excited. Hognose are definitely very different than any other species I've worked with. Just definitely a weird acting, moving, and as far as eating, a little bit tougher to get to feed. You know, the babies are just so small. So it'll definitely be a lot different. I mean, you breed them just like all the other colubrids, but I just think the animal itself, as far as feeding and hatching out and everything, it should be a much different, very fun experience. And I'm really excited for that. And just to get some snow hognose would be very, very cool. So here's another animal that I bought as a lone female, you know, gave it a few years to grow up, and then was gonna buy a male after, but I just haven't gotten a male yet. This is my Australian olive python. These snakes are a little bit pricey, so we're probably looking at about $400 to get a male at least. That's why I held off. Plus, you know, it's easier to buy a female, let it grow, because the males can grow quicker. So, but I think it's about time that I buy a male. I always get distracted, but I should probably finish the projects that I started and, you know, that I've already put years on. And this is one of my favorite snakes, so why not make more of them? And as you can see, she's just like super docile, super cool. And she did not start out this way, so I think a lot of what I've learned from having liasis from the water python and the olive python is that as babies, she was a snake that struck at the tub every time I went past it. And then obviously she's calmed down a lot. I mean, it took some handling, as well as probably mostly just age, that made her calm down. But obviously she has a little bit more growing to go. I'm probably gonna give her 5 years before I try to breed her. She's probably 2 or 3 years old now. I think she was 2014. So yeah, she is a good size, but she still needs a couple more years. But it would be about a good time to get a male to get him up to size to put to her, you know, in just a couple years. Also with the olive pythons, I mean, there's not too many people out there breeding them, so it'd be very cool to, and they are a little bit harder to breed, but it would be very cool to have a clutch of them. But with the water pythons, I have a lone female as well, which I really love the water python, but quite frankly, there just doesn't seem to be much of a market for them. There's only so many people that keep them in the United States, and I'm not sure if I want to make more of them. They're not the best pets as far as usually very food aggressive and defensive and pretty much everything. I mean, mine's settling down a bit, but it's definitely a difficult snake as far as handling goes. So, and plus there's just not many people who are interested in them. They quite frankly just look like black snakes, although they have amazing iridescence, and I love mine. I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy a male, maybe in the future, but for now, I mean, I'm just sticking with my one female. But it's definitely a project to look out for in the future. And olive pythons are just a really cool python if you want something that gets big but not retic big, not berm big. I mean, it's not heavy bodied. It's kind of like a retic in that way, but only gets maybe 10 to 12 feet, probably a little bit more towards 10 feet. An impressive animal and often a very docile animal. So it definitely gives you that impressive big snake feel without having, you know, too big of a snake, and you can feel decent keeping it in vision cage or something like that. So definitely a big focus this year is getting animals that, you know, work towards products I already have. I mean, I have adult females, I have breeders ready. I really just want to keep focused, as well as a few more corn snakes. So things that I don't have already, things that I would like to buy, products that I would like to buy into. First of all is going to be the blood red pied-sideds. I'll show you a picture here. I'm gonna buy a snake from this clutch, hopefully, if I catch it at the right time, as far as I'm just gonna look at his site and see when they go up for sale. So, and then besides that, I would love to get scaleless corn snakes, but I don't know if it's gonna happen financially, stuff like that. You know, I have things that are placed in front of that. Maybe I'll wait a couple more years until they drop in price a little bit, and it won't be a big deal to purchase one, but definitely still excited about the palmetto product. That's my main focus. That's really all I got for corns. Yes, so that's really it. Maybe a male Mexican black king snake, maybe even a male olive python, I don't know, and pied-sided blood reds. So those are just some of the things I'm excited about coming up here, as well as for next season. So this is what I'm saying now. We'll see how that pans out, and of course I'll bring you there all along the way. So if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and if you made it this far, you're on the team.